So today I'm filling in for Sita Devi Mataji. Couldn't make it, so it's one of these free hit days for me because it's just on the last minute. So I'll attempt to say a few words about one of my favourite topics. That's the Incarnation Lord Krishna, Virahadev, the Lord Boar Incarnation. So I'm a little bit hoarse. Coming back from India, my voice is okay, but I don't think I can sing. So I've asked Prabhuji here to lead with the Jaya Radha Madhava. It's okay. It's okay with everyone? Jai Prabhu. You want cartels or? Huh? Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Govardhana Jaya Govardhana Yasodhanandana Vajjana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Vajjana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Vajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Srivasadi Gauravattavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govardhana Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo. Jai, Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Pravachakacharya, Stotara Sata Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Vedanta Gauri Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Oh, glorious the assembled devotees, oh, glorious the assembled devotees, oh, glorious the assembled devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam Gantaraja Ki, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the backstory is that on Monday, Daksha Prabhu asked me if I'd like to fill in for Monday evening, if I'd like to fill in for Sita Mataji. I said, sure, why not? I seem to be recovering from my trip from Mayapur, then lo and behold, yesterday I seemed to get a little bit worse or something, but today I've got my voice back. You can hear me okay at this point in time. Well, it's such a nice sloka that I was so attached to it that I didn't want to give it up. So I thought we'll try and struggle through it and see how we go. Okay, so with your permission and with Krishna's mercy, see if we can unravel some of this purport and sloka. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, some of this sloka. So it's text number 2, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 18. Okay. Dadashatratya bichitam daradaram proniyamana vinim agudam shraya Mushnantamakshna swaruchorana shriya Jahasachaho vanagocha mriga Dadashatatra bijitam daradaram Praniyamana vanimagritam shraya Vaishnantamakshna sarachodana shriya Jahasachaho vanagochara mirga Dadashatatra bijitam daradaram Proniyamana agradam straya Vaishnantamakshna sarachodana shriya Jahasachaho vanagochara mirga Okay. Dadarsha. He saw. Tatra. There. Abhijitam. Victorious. Dara. The earth. Dharam. Bearing. Pranayamana. Being raised upward. Avanim. The earth. Agradamstraya. By the tip of his tusk. Mushnantam, who was diminishing. Akshna, with his eyes. Svarucha, Hiranyaksha's own splendor. Aruna, reddish. Shriya, radiant. Jahasa, he laughed. Cha, and aho, ho. Vanagochara, amphibious. Muga, beast. Translation, he saw there the all-powerful personality of Godhead in his poor incarnation, bearing the earth upwards on the ends of his tusks and robbing him of his splendor with his reddish eyes. The demon laughed. Oh, an amphibious beast! Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In a previous chapter, we have discussed the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Varaha, the boar. While Varaha, with his tusks, engaged in uplifting the submerged earth from the depths of the waters, this great demon Hiranyaksha met him and challenged him, calling him a beast. Demons cannot understand the incarnations of the Lord. They think that his incarnations as a fish or a boar or a tortoise are big beasts only. They misunderstand the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even in his human form, and they deride his descent in Chaitanya Sampradaya. There is sometimes a demoniac misconception about the descent of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu's body is spiritual, but demoniac persons consider the body of the Supreme Lord to be material, just like ours. Avajananti mam muda, persons who have no intelligence deride the transcendental form of the Lord as material. Om Chinanjana Salakya Chaksuran Militam Yena Tasmei Shri Gurave Namaha Durgame Parimendasya Skalapati Gati Mahu Sri Swakripisdane no Shantashantuvalambanam. So Srila Prabhupada in his purport here is alluding to the ignorance of the demons, and he's quoting the Bhagavad Gita, Vajananti Mammuda. So fools decry me when I descend in my human form. So there's the divine and there's the demoniac, there's the Asuras, the Suras and the Asuras. And also, not only are there those in the human form, there are those in the non-human form as well. So, as we know, there are different species, of the 8,400,000 species of creatures that have been created by the Lord. There are 400,000 human beings. So, the definition is a bit grey. We don't know, what is the definition of human being, but certainly Rakshasas, we know certain Rakshasas, we know the easy ones to recognise. They have 2 arms, 2 legs, but they're very hideous looking, and usually they have the teeth coming out like that. That is the picture of the Rakshasas. But actually, Rakshasas can take on so many different forms. They're intelligent. They also have mystic powers. And it somehow rather alludes to a different age, as they say, a different time and a different place, because matters here in this age of Kali Yuga are pretty two-dimensional here. We don't seem to have any signs of Rakshasas living anywhere. But of course, the imagination is very strong, whether it's our, what do we call it, our id, our subconscious or something, but people like to conjure up Rakshasas, so this is where we have our movie blockbusters. I'm sure some of us older folk have gone to see that with our kids. We might have just snuck along to check out the latest King Kong movie or Godzilla or Guardians of the Universe, where like you have King Kong, this huge monster standing on top of a skyscraper, throwing cars around, and Godzilla, and then King Kong versus Godzilla, and there's carnage everywhere. So people's consciousness is sort of taken away, swept away by the power of these demons, and they're in a sort of illusory state for an hour or so. And then the demons always usually get dispatched. So more or less this is a sort of like an ephemeral contact that we have with the demoniac. It is still there, but it's in the subconscious. But even the worst conjured demon that the movie producers can come up with, can create, is still small time compared to the pastimes of Supreme Personality Godhead with some of the other demons. So demons, the asuras, they've always existed in this material universe. So like we know it's Kali Yuga, you think they'd all be coming here. Of course, it's said that the demons are there within the same body, that we have the divine and the demoniac in our body at the same time. We're sort of struggling with the forces and trying to get the mode of goodness and pure goodness to prevail over that mode of passion and ignorance. And of course, the only way we can do it is just reach out to Srila Prabhupada and the spiritual masters and accept the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who gave us this beautiful mantra of a Lord engagement in the devotional service and keep all this Maya, this illusion at bay, this illusory energy. But in Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga, even though, and Dwapara Yuga, even though those ages, Satya Yuga was very sattvic, still there was a proliferation of demons that's quite difficult to understand, because we know Lord Ramchandra, he came just at the beginning of Treta Yuga. Am I correct to assume that? Yes, so then when he was banished to the forest, there was a special mission that also he had to perform. It's just like Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhanam vinasya chatuskritam. I descend time and time again to re-establish religious principles and annihilate the demons. So the forest, the Dandakaranya forest, is Dandakaranya? I haven't had time to do my research, but it was full of demons. It was just like chock-a-block, and they were looking for sages to eat. And the most delectable sage they could eat was the Munis. They loved the Munis and the high ecstatics. The austerities that they performed were delicious for them as they ate them with their fangs, right? So that's a pretty sort of graphic description. And as soon as Ramachandra, Lord Ram and Sita and Lakshman entered into the forest, immediately they saw that the sages that were in the forest, because as we know, tapasya was the, in Satya Yuga, tapasya was the form of meditation to achieve liberation. So you could assume that the forest was full of sages performing their tapasya and meditating on the Lord to go back, to get liberated, go back to Vaikuntha. So then Lord Ramachandra undertook the task of getting rid of all these demons in the forest, and there were some horrible ones. You know, it was just like one head and one eye and a big mouth and 4 arms and 3 legs and a huge belly and fire coming out his mouth and his eyes copper red and laughing hideously. No one can kill me, and gobbling up. So they liberated a lot of demons in that forest, and then gave sages a clear path to perform their tapasya. And of course then there was the ultimate demon. There was Ravana, who he had to contend with, and Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna was unbelievable. This is according to Radhanath Maharaj, this story. I'll repeat it because Radhanath Maharaj, as far as I'm concerned, is truth. But truth is sometimes the Shastras vary, but Kumbhakarna, Ravana had a brother called Kumbhakarna. Just like we're talking about Hiranyaksha here, he had a brother, Hiranyakashipu. And like Hiranyakashipu stole the limelight, there's a short chapter, a couple of chapters on Hiranyaksha, but there's a whole section on Hiranyakashipu, similarly with Ravana. So his brother Kumbhakarna was, of course they're the same, they're Jai and Vijay, but Kumbhakarna was this ferocious demon that had this insatiable appetite, and he'd go around and he'd eat everything he could in sight. He particularly liked the sages and the aesthetics, but he didn't really care. So Ravana performed all these austerities, and he gained all these powers that Lord Brahma gave him. So so Kumbhakarna tried to perform all these austerities. And he was standing like on one leg for so long, thousands of years. He's standing there and standing there. Eventually, Lord Brahma came along. But at some point in time, the demigods came to Lord Brahma and said, you can't give this person the austerities. You give him the benefit of his austerities, because if you do that, then he's actually going to destroy the whole universe. He'll destroy us. So Lord Brahma, his wife, we all know who Lord Brahma's wife is, consort, Saraswati. So she's the goddess of intelligence, right? So he summoned her. So when he came to see, am I all right so far? So when he came to see Kumbhakarna, where are we at? I'm having a Joe Biden moment at the moment, Kumbhakarna. So Kumbhakarna performed, and Lord Brahma appears, and Lord Brahma says, what is it that you would like? What do you want? And Kumbhakarna was ready to go. Had all the sort of list of austerities that he wanted. But at that point in time, the goddess Saraswati slipped into his mouth, and he mispronounced the words. Instead of saying, I want all these fantastic austerities and boons, he just said, I want to sleep. I want to sleep and stay awake for one day. And Lord Brahma goes, granted. He goes, wait a minute, what did I just say? Performed all these austerities for thousands of years, and now I get to sleep for 364 days, and then I have one day where I'm awake. So as soon as he said that, he fell asleep. So that was the demoniac, the divine and demoniac. So these demons, and of course whenever it's these big demons like that, Krishna descends in his different incarnations to dispatch these demons. And his incarnations are wonderful, just like Prabhupada's saying in the purport here. The demons, they don't understand these wonderful forms of the Lord, just like the Matsya incarnation that grew to be 8 million miles long. It says that in the Bhagavatam, 8 million miles, fish incarnation. We go, what? But if you understand in a different viewpoint that actually the universe was his fishbowl, he's just swimming around in the universe. I mean, the Lord, this is his universe. He could do what he likes. Or the Kurma incarnation. So we see the tortoise incarnation. But what did he do? He supported Mount Meru. Now, Mount Meru is so gigantic we can't even conceive of how the size of Mount Meru is. If we think of the Himalayas, and I mean Mount Meru is just like this giant mountain which dwarfs the Himalayas. So, and the Lord supported this mountain so he could get his back scratched because he had this itchy back. So this is the prowess of the Lord. So similarly, Lord Viraha, he comes in the form of a boar. And if we can understand the size of this, because he's lifting the earth on his tusks. So I've just come from India and I travelled in an aeroplane for 18 hours across the surface of the globe, and that's not even halfway. So the earth is a very, very big planet. And so here we have Lord Boar lifting the earth with his tusks. So we can imagine the size of the Lord being ginormous. So this is an extra special Leela. Actually, the devotees, when they were painting this Leela, I just looked at it here, there's one picture of Lord Boar here. They asked Srila Prabhupada, how do we paint Lord Boar? Because Varaha. Because traditionally, what we understand about boars is that they look very ugly. They've got those tusks that are protruding. They're the colour of the mud. They're sort of always dirty, and they've got very, very bristly spikes that make this horrible grunting noises, and certainly they're no friends of humans. But Srila Prabhupada said because he's an incarnation of Krishna, that he's beautiful. He's actually magnificent. Actually, in the last chapter you probably read that even one of his hairs stood out, and it was more transcendental than the most beautiful damsels flying in the heavenly planets in their airplanes. So the Lord defeated the beauty of those, and when they saw the Lord they fainted. So he's so beautiful. So Prabhupada said to make Lord Varaha as beautiful as you can. And he said he's got 4 hooves, but you can paint hands on, but I just see that the devotees painted hooves, and he's got the club, and he's dealing with a particular pastime, which is he has to lift the earth out of the nether region. So this demon Hiranyaksha, Hiranya means gold. I'm creating complete chaos here. Monique, could you sort of please help me just sort of get my thing back in? I just created chaos here. So this Hiranyaksha, Hiranya means gold, so he had this penchant for gold. Of course, we have Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakasipu. So Hiranyakasipu means gold and soft beds. He was also attracted, but Hiranyakasipu was more inclined towards the heavenly planets, conquering the planet of King Indra and all the other planets, so he stayed there. But it appears like Hiranyaksha was more attuned to sort of drilling for gold on the earthly regions, and he drilled so much that he affected the balance of the earth planet, and she plunged into the ocean. So you probably remember, I was away last month, but Srila Prabhupada mentioned that in the purport, that he said this drilling is going on right now, that the earth is being drilled for so many valuable minerals, and that's also affecting the buoyancy of the earth, and we also feel the effect of that. So Srila Prabhupada said that 50 years ago in his purport, and certainly it is coming true 50 years later, that we're feeling that everybody's seeing that all the weather is just unpredictable at the moment, and the poles are melting. And so, because of this demoniac activities that people performing, the Ugra Karmas, that the earth is also becoming very troubled. So Lord Varaha, he picks up the ocean with his tusks and he's lifting it up. So that is the function of the boar. We all know about hogs, boars. We always talk about the hogs in Vrindavan. We have to mention that. I think any devotee who's been to Vrindavan in the old days, I think they're still there, and sees the hogs sort of ferreting through they call them the council cleaners, they're ferreting through all the drains, and they're absolutely putrid, and they're sort of fossicking around looking for things that they think are very tasty. So so they're famous there. So the mega size of the Lord is able to lift the earth with his tusks, as he's in the process of lifting this. And then, of course, we've just read that Varunaji it's told, God the ocean has told Hiranyaksha that there is someone who can actually fight with you, and he's at the Govardhana ocean. So this demon has come looking for the Lord. He wants a fight. That's all. It's just like, if you know that somebody, this is the nature, this is the mode of passion and ignorance in someone, that they're just looking for a fight. In the old days, we used to go to discotheques. I'll talk about the old days, and we go and hear this is where we go on a Saturday night, and there'd always be the two tough guys, their shirts rolled up, and sort of unbuttoned, and they'd be walking around like this, and then they come across a guy and go, boom, like that, get out of my way. And then it'd be on outside, everybody go outside, and there'd be a big rumble, and all broken up. It never came to much, but it was just the show of the things, Oh yeah, there was a rumble. So this is the nature of this demon. This is the demoniac nature. So he sees Lord Varaha trying to save Bhumi, take her out of the ocean and put her back in her orbit. And he's going, oh, an amphibious beast, like that. And so he's seeing, just little Prabhupada saying, he's seeing this huge beast. He's delighted because he's sensing that there's a fight. And it's a very insulting thing to call somebody a beast. And it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is absolutely beautiful. Of course, the Lord retaliates in a few slokas later on. Oh yes, I'm the beast, and I've come to slay wild dogs like you, because there's actually an enmity between dogs and hogs, right? So I'll put pay to you. So then, of course, just a little bit later, a bit of a spoiler here for tomorrow, he's being addressed as best of the demigod. So then Hiranyaksha is trying to be courteous. He's saying, oh, best of the demigods, because actually that's as far as the demoniac mentality can go. That is the consciousness that nothing exists outside of this universe. There is no form outside of this universe. How could anybody be God who has a transcendental form? The form is just the form. If you have a form, then you're material. So you have to be a demigod like that. Actually, there is a Lord Bohr also incarnated a couple of times in Navadvip. One particular time he incarnated in Koladvip. Koladvip means actually a place where Lord Varaha was born, right? So where Lord Varaha descended. So there was one devotee called Vasudev Venkat, I think, Vasudev Vata or Vasudev something. It wasn't the Vasudev that we, Lord Chaitanya the pastime, but it was another Vasudev, and he was a devotee of Lord Bohr, and he worshipped him and very, very reverentially, and he asked him, please come and give me your darshan. Pleaded with him, and so Lord Bohr actually did come in his form, and then he explained to him that I will descend in the future and I will show mercy to all the people in the age of Kali Yuga, and then you should come and perform these pastimes also. That was the first time. And then the second time was when Lord Chaitanya, when he was Nimai Pandit, this person is performing all sorts of gymnastics here, maybe. Would you be able to sit outside for now, because I'm just having a sort of one-on-one conversation with everybody, okay? And you can sit on the seat, okay? Later on you can take your photos. I'll catch up with you. Yeah, thank you very much. So Lord Gauranga So he was near my pundit, and he was just starting to feel the ecstasy of the Lord. He'd just been initiated by his spiritual master, Ishvara Puri, and he was feeling the ecstasy, and he was walking along the streets of Navadvip one day when he heard somebody speaking about the glories the Lord bore in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And as soon as he heard it, he goes, Sukara, Sukara, and he manifested symptoms of ecstasy, and he's running, Sukara, Sukara, and he goes running straight to the house of his devotee, who is Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta was actually a great devotee of our Lord Ram, and he was very much dear to Lord Chaitanya, and he goes running into Murari Gupta's house, and he goes to his temple, and inside the temple area, there's Lord Vishnu there. He saw a nice water jug, a beautiful water jug, and he balanced it on his head, and he assumed the form of Lord Varaha. And there he is as Lord Varaha, balancing the water pot. He's going, Murari, Murari, offer me prayers, offer me prayers. Murari was astounded because at that point in time, Lord hadn't manifested any of his incarnations, and he was a hidden incarnation. They just knew that he was very ecstatically chanted in the psalm, chanting the holy names, of course. You know, they had their own understanding of Sri Krishna Chaitanya as the Lord, as Supreme Personality of Godhead. But here's this wonderful incarnation saying, offer me prayers, offer me prayers. He was dumbfounded. And then he goes, my Lord. He said, even Lord Nanta Shesh, he's got thousands of hoods, and he can't even come to the end of offering you, of espousing your glories. He's constantly chanting, he can never come to the end. So who am I to, you alone know your power, and it's only by your mercy that you can actually give devotees the intelligence by which they can understand you. He said the Vedas, they glorify you, but then they're unlimited. There's no end to the Vedas in your glorification. So the Lord was very pleased with Murari's prayers, and he goes, yes, the Vedas, they actually sometimes cut me to pieces. They declare that I have no form, that I have no head, no hands. They are saying this, and it is very, very hurtful. And he mentioned Prakasananda Saraswati in Varanasi. There's this sannyasi Prakasananda. He's go around saying that I have no form. So these are the deniers. So the Lord is hurt by the people who deny the fact that the Lord has no form, no legs, no hand, no mouth, he's formless. They're referring to Brahman realization. So then they can't understand the transcendental nature of the Lord. Just like in Bhagavatam it says, 1.2.26, I think, Vedanti tatatva vidaskyanam yad yadadvayam brahmati paramatmiti Bhagavan iti subjete, that this Brahmati, this Brahman impersonal realization, that's like baby steps on the path of spiritual realization. The next level is actually understanding Paramatma, that the Lord, Supreme Lord within the heart. And then, of course, Bhagavan opens up into this full bloom of our understanding our eternal nature of our relationships with the Lord, which is so unlimited and so ever expanding. Of course, the example is given that if you're like, one very good example is if you're in Tweed Heads, right, you're driving back and you see Mount Warning. It's always very reassuring to see Mount Warning when you're coming from Tweed Heads, because we know we live next to there, right? Mount Warning is like a landmark. So you see this blue outline in the sky. So that's compared to Brahman realization. Then when you come down Chelgam Road, then you see that there's actually, it's a green mountain, there's trees and things like that. And then when you come here and you have a look at Mount Warning or this mountain here, then you understand that there's a whole, jungle growth growing on. There's so many living entities and there's so much action going on. So this is sort of different perspectives in which we have. So that's Bhagavan realization. So for those who are saying that the Lord has no form, they are committing great offence because they will not establish a relationship with the Lord. It is very sad. And if they're going around telling people that, then it isn't even worse still, because the Lord is very upset that they are deniers of the personality of Godhead. I just wanted to recap or just something I had a couple of nights ago. I was this is sort of relevant. I was wondering how this was going to fit in, and then somebody asked me to give the class the next day, but I had a tape on. I was listening to on YouTube. I don't know if somebody does it, but sometimes you have a nice kirtan on YouTube and you're having trouble sleeping, and so you put the kirtan on and you go to sleep, and usually by the time you wake up the kirtan's finished. But this particular time I woke up and it just went on to the next clip, and it just happened to be Sadhguru, who I sort of mentioned quite a bit because he's like one of these leftovers from the 60s who's got this long beard, he looks the part. And Sadhguru was saying that the Lord has no form, the ultimate Lord, he has no form. Like that is going on. I turned him off, So this is the nature of this person here, because he's very popular, but ultimately this is his understanding. And of course, the Krishna, he's the perfection of a human being. So he's going around speaking like that. And that is very offensive to the eyes and ears of the devotee. So in this day and age, this type of philosophy is very popular, actually, because he is very popular, and atheism is starting to take a grip because people have difficulty understanding in the personal form, just like when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. People think, oh, that's very engaging the energy of the Lord, but they don't understand who the Lord is, and they love it. Last night we had a beautiful chant there. Prabhu was chanting so nicely with his friends, and everybody was just sort of grooving along like this, and then they all got up and danced, and they were having a great time, and they enjoy the Krishna mantra. But it's another step when you bring them inside the temple and say, actually, this is Krishna, he's non-different from the mantra. In fact, when I was in Chennai. Sorry, I was just not quite with it. I was in Chennai for Radhastami, actually, and had the good fortune to hear Banu Maharaj give the class. And he gave this epic class about Radharani. And in it, he described the Maha Mantra. And he said that Maha Mantra, it's about Radharani, that Hari is the address of Radharani, that Hari Krishna. So Radharani gets addressed most times in the mantra. And of course, Krishna is the original fountainhead of Godhead, and Na is increasing the bliss of Krishna. So Hare Krishna, and Rama is the pleasure potency. So the more you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so you're increasing the bliss of the pleasure potency, and Rama is always eternally increasing. So therefore, the more you chant the Hare Krishna and understand, or more you become purified and come to grips with the mantra, then the more you can't stop, because it is so wonderfully addictive. So that's the Maha Mantra. So this is the ever-increasing spiritual bliss that we have, and Srila Prabhupada has given this and said once the taste is there, you can immediately start chanting. So we see the effect here. The Hare Krishna Mantra works. It's really good. So it's just actually keep on chanting. This is the process by which we try to keep everybody engaged on that path of spiritual. This is a path back to Godhead, the age of Kali Yuga. So I think I've come to an end. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions or comments? All good? Means you understood nothing. I didn't hear anything. Hare Krishna, all glory to Srila Prabhupada.